Today, I'm behind the wheel of a brand new 2021 Subaru Ascent, the largest SUV in Subaru's lineup with 3 rows. For 2021, there are some minor changes, addition of new standard safety features. So let me tell you what those safety features are and also show you the ins and outs and tell you how this Ascent drives on the road. Let's get started. I want to give a big shout out to the Auto Barn Subaru in Countryside. They made this video possible, so if you're in the market for a brand new or used Subaru, then definitely check out this dealership. Their URL is on the screen and in the description below. Starting with the front end, the Ascent looks like a traditional Subaru. It has that same styling, a rugged, boxy look, and that's not a bad thing. Starting with the grille, you have a large grille. It's black and surrounded with chrome. And take a look at those headlights. They're very massive. They look distinctive. And for 2021, they've been upgraded. They are now steering responsive headlights, which mean they turn when you turn your steering wheel. And also, you do get automatic high beams. On the bottom of the bumper, you get a little bit of black cladding, and you do get fog lights. Now moving to the side, the Ascent I'm driving today is the Touring, the top trim level. So the mirrors have a satin metallic look to them. You do still have chrome window surrounds and chrome handles. And then look at the cladding. The black cladding that's around the wheel fenders and the bottom of the doors. They flow from the front all the way to the back. Adds a little bit of ruggedness. And take a look at those large 20-inch wheels. They actually look really good. I like this design, and I'll let you know if they affect ride quality in a little bit. Also, look on the top, the roof rails. These are really sturdy and rugged roof rails. They're not for show. You could basically throw whatever you want on there and not worry about scratching them or denting them or anything like that. So this is definitely a Subaru. Now moving towards the back, you do see a shark fin antenna and a large spoiler and of course a large privacy glass. You do have some pretty big taillights in the back. There's a chrome bar in the middle. And look at the lower bumper. It's covered basically entirely with black cladding. I think it actually does look good. Normally, I would say it will look better painted, but somehow on this Ascent, I think it looks just right. And also, you do have dual chrome exhaust tips underneath, which surprisingly is rare on a mid-size SUV. The tailgate is powered. However, there is no hands-free feature that's on this Ascent, but you can adjust the height and lock it in for those of you guys that are shorter or taller. Now, behind the third row, you have a decent amount of space for your luggage or groceries. Left side, you do have a 12V outlet. On the right side, you see it's taken up by a subwoofer. If you open up the bottom cover, you do see that there is a lot of hidden storage underneath. That's good. And you can hide your privacy cover down there too, which is a bonus. Now, of course, if you need more room, simply fold down the third row. And they fold really flat, so it maximizes cargo room. Now, the only nitpick about those third row seats is how they lift up. Because to fold down, you simply pull on the straps and push down. Very easy. But when you pull them up, it's a different set of straps. And as you can see, they get locked in at a certain point. And then if you want to lean them back, you have to pull on the straps again. So it's like a two-step process when other SUVs simply have one strap and it's a one-step process. Now, you could also fold the second row down. They fold down semi-flat, not as flat as the third row. So if you wanted a lot of cargo room, you get it with all rows folded down. Now, on this Touring comes with standard captain chairs, which is nice. Also standard leather, which look good and feel good. The beauty of the captain chairs is it's really easy to get in a third row. As you can see, the opening between the two seats is actually pretty wide. However, you can lean the seats forward too, and once you do, it's actually a good amount of room. I got in the third row just fine. With the second row, not all the way to the back, maybe about 2 inches forward, I have a good amount of legroom. And what's great is the number of cup holders and USB ports. I haven't seen this in any other midsize SUV yet. You actually have 4 USB ports in the back, 2 on each side, and take a look at how many cup holders. So Subaru expects you to put your kids in a third row, for sure. Now, moving to the second row, there's plenty of space. I'm 5'10". I have at least 3 to 4 inches of leg room, about the same with headroom And the seats do, of course, slide forward and backwards and recline. Now, second row passengers are greeted with a ton of niceties because this is a touring trim. You do get a climate control, also heated seats, also USB ports and cup holders, more cup holders. In fact, there are 4 cup holders in each door panel. Also in the second row, you do have sunshades, which is really nice on a hot day. Now, moving up front, this cabin looks very similar to the other SUVs in Subaru's lineup, and that's not a bad thing. There's good contrast. You do see certain pieces that's covered in white leather, contrasting with black leather and also aluminum and chrome and also wood trim. There's a lot of contrast up here, and there's white stitching too. Now, moving to the steering wheel, I like it. It has a good thickness, it looks good, and it feels good, and it's identical to the ones in the other Subarus. Now, in terms of the buttons, a little confusing. On the right side, you do have a lot of buttons for your standard safety features, like your new advanced adaptive cruise control. I'm gonna get to that in a little bit, and lane centering, lane assist, and all that good stuff. On the left side, you do have controls for your volume, your media source, your voice control, your phone. On the bottom, you could see there's a separate set of buttons that controls the info screen and gauge cluster. And then there's another button on the other side for your heated steering wheel. So in terms of buttons, there's a lot of buttons on the steering wheel. And behind, you do have paddle shifters. They're kind of hidden, but you do have them. Now, moving to gauge cluster, pretty traditional. You do have an analog speedometer and tachometer and a lot of gauges, and you have a small little info screen in the middle. The interface and the information it gives you is kind of minimal, just very basic stuff. So I think the gauge cluster is a little bit dated compared to the competition that has the entire gauge cluster digital or a larger info screen that gives you a lot more information. Now, to the left of the steering wheel, you have some buttons for your memory setting for your tailgate, power tailgate, and a couple of safety features. You do have 2 memory seats in here and also power folding mirrors. Now, moving to the 8-inch infotainment screen, this is the same interface as the other Subarus, and I think it's okay. The buttons are nice and large. The responsiveness is okay. Sometimes it gets laggy, but other times it's very smooth. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, settings, navigation, all that stuff is included. Now, underneath, in case you didn't want to use all touch, Subaru did give you some buttons for quick navigation and also volume and scroll. They're still knobs. And you still get a CD player in here, which is rare these days. Now, above this, you do have a separate screen, and that's unique, and I do like this. So a lot of things are removed. It makes it less clutter in here in terms of the main screen. So you have your trip computer and also your pitch and yaw angle and also clock and outside temperature, weather, navigation, a lot of info that's moved up there. Plus, you do have a camera system up there too. It's a 180 view, front view camera system. So if you're going off-road or wherever you're going, you want to see what's in front of you, you could do that. However, the screen is kind of small. It's limited to that small screen. So I wish that was actually displayed on the main screen. Now, underneath the infotainment screen, you do have a traditional climate control setup, dual zones up front. There's another zone in the back, so tri-zone. Pretty easy to figure out. Also, you have ventilated seats and heated seats and buttons for your defroster options and fan control and all that good stuff. Underneath, you have buttons for X mode and your brake hold, and you do have a plug for media and 2 more USB ports and a shelf for your phone. Unfortunately, there's no wireless charging in here. Now, the shifter, pretty traditional. In a way, it's too traditional. I really wish that this was updated to something that looks a little bit better, because this looks like it's straight out of the 90s and hasn't been changed for the last 20 years. And you have some storage underneath the armrest. On top, you actually have six HomeLink buttons. Again, normally there's 3. I don't know why Subaru decided to give 6 HomeLink buttons. You have an SOS and info button, and you have controls for a large panoramic sunroof, which is standard on this touring trim. And you can see there's a couple buttons for your safety systems if you want to turn them off. Next, let's talk about the powertrain. Underneath the hood, you have a 2.4 liter turbocharged boxer engine that is pushing out 260 horsepower and over 270 pound-feet of torque. It's mated to a CVT transmission that's mimicking an 8-speed automatic. I'll let you guys know how acceleration is in a little bit. Okay, I'm on the road, so let me tell you how this Ascent is on the road and how it drives. First off, let's talk about the driving position and visibility, which both I think are very good. This is a mid-size SUV. You get 8.7 inches of ground clearance, so you're sitting high off the ground. And I get a commanding view of the road, which I like. Also, the hood slopes down quite a bit, so I can see past the hood, which is great for visibility. The windshield is very big. The side windows, every window in fact in here, is enormous. Blind spot is also great, but you get blind spot monitoring in here included, so no worries there. And the rear visibility is tremendous. The window is really enormous. So visibility, driving position is really nice in this Ascent. Now, since I'm up to speed already, I'm on a freeway going about 50 miles per hour. I will say that the cabin noise is a little bit louder than I expected. The wind noise is okay, but I'm hearing more from the road, from these tires, and also from the engine. Every little acceleration I do, every little tap on the accelerator, I do hear the engine. So the engine is noisy. This boxer engine is noisier than a normal engine, and especially at idle too. If you're standing outside while the engine is on, it sounds pretty loud, and it sounds a little bit weird too. So in terms of cabin insulation, I would say it's so-so. It could be better. Some of the competition is definitely quieter at high speeds. Now, I did mention that this engine is mated to a CVT transmission. So the CVT mimics an 8-speed, and right now, I didn't even notice. It's been shifting like automatic, and I haven't really noticed any drone or delay or anything. It's actually really, it's simulating really crisp shifts. So right now around town, this is actually a really good feel. And remember, all Subarus, including Ascent, come with symmetrical all-wheel drive with torque vectoring, by the way. So power can be diverted front to rear and side to side, and that's all included. And with this Ascent, you get X mode with hill descent. So in case you're tackling the off-road, it's hairy terrain or there's steep hills, you know what? You let the Ascent tackle it for you, no worries. Now the accelerator feels like sport mode is on all the time. It's very touchy, just a slight tap and you could feel the power kick in. Now I do feel like Subaru did that on purpose to make you feel like, you know, it's a livelier drive. I don't think it's necessary, but it is there. And I think some of you guys will enjoy it and some of you guys won't. Let me test out acceleration and see how it is. Okay, so that was good and bad. So right off the line, going up to about from 20 to 40, 45, really lively acceleration. I felt that turbo engine kick in, that torque kick in right away, until the CVT tried to simulate a shift. And then there was a huge pause and lag. Like all of a sudden the surge of power just went away, and until it decided to assimilate shift, and then it came back. Now I do remember, if I use the paddle shifters and shift myself, it gets rid of that lag. So I'm gonna go around town again and try that again and see how it is using the paddle shifters. All right, so I'm on a patchy freeway. You can see here a lot of patches, imperfections, and bumps, and the suspension is okay, handling it pretty good. Not the smoothest ride, but not the bumpiest either. I think it's right in the middle. So I think in extreme conditions like this, a really bad patch, it's still okay. Now the steering feel, just so-so. It feels really artificial to me. There's slight play, actually not slight. There's a lot of play in the steering wheel, as you guys can see, with no input in the car. So the steering wheel just so. Now as for the seats, they're comfortable, a tad stiffer than what I like. So I do feel like my butt will probably get sore after a couple hours of driving. But overall, I think the bolstering, the leather, the overall shape is good. And not just for the front seats, the second row and the third row, they're also good, which is surprising. So for 2021, there's more standard safety features added on top of eyesight. Eyesight, there's a couple of cameras on top that study the road. And with that, you get a lot of safety features such as adaptive cruise control, lane assist, and also emergency braking and warning and all that good stuff. But for this 2021 Ascent, it's been enhanced. So now you have something called advanced adaptive cruise control with lane centering. Basically, the adaptive cruise control can now come to a full stop where before it couldn't. And also, when you enable it, say on the highway, it does a much better job just basically staying within the lane. So it moves the Ascent a step closer to semi-autonomous driving. So that is the big addition for this year. Also, other standard safety features you get in here, such as rear cross traffic alert, blind spot monitoring, those are included already. So in terms of safety features, you pretty much get it all on this Ascent. I just noticed there's no engine auto start stop in here, which is nice because normally that's the first thing I go and turn off, but it's not in here, and that's a good thing. That's addition by subtraction. So I just put the car in manual. I'm gonna see how it is with the paddle shifters. All right, I'm in second gear. Okay, so that was slight. So I went from about 30 to about 55, and I did shift. So remember, these are simulated shifts on a CVT. I went from second to third gear under full acceleration, and I did not feel that loss of power or that lag. So if you're manually shifting, it's a whole lot better. Even though a lot of people aren't fans of CVT, I mean, around town, this computer logic is great. You really can't tell that this isn't automatic. It's just doing its thing, and it works beautifully around town. As for trim levels and pricing, there are 4 trim levels to the brand new Subaru Ascent. The base starts over $32,000, then you have the Premium, Limited, and finally the Touring, which is what I'm driving today. The price on the Touring is around $45,445. The one I'm driving has some optional features, pushing the price over $47,000. To conclude, the Subaru Ascent is a great 3-row midsize SUV. It excels at a lot of little things that make it a great family SUV, such as having 19 cup holders and 8 USB ports. It is also spacious within all the rows, even the third row. Lastly, the Ascent provides rugged looks, comfortable seats, and a lively acceleration. The Ascent, however, is held back by a few things, such as lack of optional features like 360 view camera system, heads-up display, wireless charging, and hands-free tailgate. Also, some parts of the cabin feel dated, the steering feels lackluster, and the CVT shifting under full acceleration can use some tweaking. Overall, I'm giving the 2021 Subaru Ascent a score of 99. To see how it ranks among its peers, check out driversonlyrankings.com. Thanks for watching, hit the like and subscribe to the channel for more reviews, first looks, and news.